Hello, this is not a spring chicken. If you woke up like I did this morning, you know, turned on your computer and then you turned on the news and started hearing all these things about Dame Elizabeth and her life, then you know something has happened. And you know, it's unfortunate. She's been sick for a while, but Dame Elizabeth is no more. But of course, Oldecam behind the scenes has danced with Dame Elizabeth. But for now, we're going to bring Oldecam on with comments on the headlines of today.
You know, like I said, the way it worked was I was a teenage male. My grandmother was a script supervisor, my father was a second unit man, and they needed somebody that could dance, and Elizabeth Taylor couldn't dance. So I was brought in to make her look good in that stupid teenage thing.
Oh, you were?
Yeah, really bad movie, folks.
But what was she like?
Well, she had a pet, I don't know, she had this little gerbil or something she took everywhere with her. Gerbil.
Really?
She was a teenager, she was really nice. But the problem is then when she hit 18, she became the woman bit, and then she basically didn't care about any of the teenage boys and stuff anymore.
Well, and as you were a teenage boy.
I was a teenage boy. I had no chance when she could go out with high-powered actors and big shots in the industry at 18. So.
Was she as gorgeous as they always talk about her being?
Oh yeah, I mean she was an oddball. Okay, the first time, I mean I saw her Lassie come, I think it was at the National Velvet when I first saw her. She was gorgeous then. You could see what she was going to look like when she got older, which is why they would tend to surround her with a lot of people they knew weren't hitting on her. So.
And Obama, worshipped by world leaders, wearing out very quickly.
Oh yeah, because this guy, I mean, he basically came back from, I'm going to go to Latin America, and I'm going to reset everything that George Bush did to Latin America. Well, what they wanted him to come do was to sign the trade pacts that all these countries had signed with the government, and he's refusing to do that because the Teamsters don't want those trade pacts signed. So what did he do? He left early. Well, I have to cut this thing short because of the problems in Libya. That was his excuse. He went over to Brazil, announced that he's attacking. The UN gave us permission to attack. No, we are not. The UN doesn't give the Americans permission for its military to attack. The Congress of the United States gives permission.
Gaddafi snipers and tanks terrorize civilians in key Libyan city.
Yeah, because they have said they said that it doesn't make any difference whether we keep the air power down. He controls 2/3 of the country, and he controls the oil fields 2/3 of the country, and he has an army, and the other people don't. So they said that he can wear the other people down with just foot soldiers.
And Obama touts Central America ties and cuts his trip short.
Yeah,
of course.
We have leapfrog Obama.
I know.
He has no Central American ties because they said before, the only thing they want him to do is approve the trade pacts, and he won't sign them. The Democrats help pass them. He won't sign them.
After Japan quake, U.S. confronts fears and costs.
Well, yeah, because we have to shut down all the nuclear reactors in our country. And we have to go green immediately. And no matter what the Republicans say, we can go green tomorrow.
Yeah.
That's why we have Leapfrog Obama riding BS the bull at the same time. Because if that's not a bunch of BS and going over the truth.
And power lines hooked up to Japan's crippled nuclear reactors.
Okay, but there's no guarantee that the cooling systems will work, and we don't know. No one knows why they're bothering. First, you check to see if the systems work, then you hook the power back up.
And international alliance divided over Libya command.
Well, yeah, NATO is not happy. The African Union is not happy. The Arab League is not happy, and Sarkozy says he's in charge in France. We are in charge.
Oh, he did.
The NATO, he's not part of NATO, so NATO can basically tell, NATO's going to probably stop. The British aren't going to take command under Sarkozy. So it's just, and they said there is no, the Democrats, Republicans all agree with one thing. Nobody knows what Obama's doing. Then nobody knows what's going on. They have no mandate to do anything they're doing from the United Nations, none. They're supposed to control the air. That was all they were supposed to do. But they decided to take sides in the issue.
Oh. And health risks of radiation depend on dose and duration.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to be around that nuclear reactor, this spilling core stuff. Dose and You know, I'm assuming since the nuclear bombs, which were really dirty little monsters, had very little effect on the Japanese population, other than the fact they made them all taller, that they have some sort of built-in immunity against radiation to begin with, though.
And South Dakota governor signs a 3-day wait for abortion into law.
Which they said will never be done because you have to undergo counseling to convince you that what you're doing is a crime. You can't, it is not against the law, so you can't counsel somebody that what they're doing is a crime. So they figure the courts will this one will also get thrown out because it says specifically, 3-day counseling to convince you you're creating a criminal act.
Oh.
Yeah, which isn't a criminal act according to federal law, folks.
And world mourns lovable polar bear nut.
Yeah, Canute.
Canute?
Yeah, it's a little bear in Germany. He died at 4 years of age. They generally lived to be nearly 30. They said
But that's really
they said
early.
what made him what he was, which was not a big, mean polar bear, was probably because he had a brain disorder to begin with. So it's why he was never.
Which is why he was so lovable.
Because he had to be hand-fed when he was little. His parents dumped him because they didn't want him, which they knew he was defective. And he's been basically fed by humans ever since then because he couldn't take care of himself. He was dying from the day he was born. See, the bears would have let him die. Humans kept him alive for 4 years.
Albatross returned dispels fear that it died in the tsunami.
Well, yeah, because that's basically a sign of everything returning back to normal in Japan.
Already? Albatrosses?
Albatross.
Wow.
So because
You would have thought that, I mean...
Well, they thought they killed them. And basically, they just went out to sea. They just went the other direction. So, of course, the radiation probably isn't helping them any, but...
Yeah, probably not. Japan tragedy seared into the world's imagination.
Well, yeah, because we've got to stop nuclear power all over the world. Even though that we don't have anything to replace it with, we've got to stop nuclear power. Well, they did in Germany. They're basically stopping all...
Are they really stopping?
They're stopping all of the relicensing of every nuclear plant in Germany and trying to shut down the ones that are there, even though they have they're an inland country and have no means of doing anything, so...
Well, let's see. They're not probably going to get an earthquake or a tsunami, right?
Not in Germany. I mean, if you build... Okay, if the nuclear plant... Okay, for instance, if we put a nuclear facility out in the middle of the Mojave Desert, I don't think we have much to worry about a nuclear anything. If you put
then there's no people around it.
That's right. So if you put a nuclear facility, you know, in the middle of a desolate area of Scandinavia, you're not going to have any problems. Same thing with the Soviet Union, with the United Arab
Although Sweden would be an island, but I don't think they have earthquakes and tsunamis.
Well, no, but they don't want them on islands because it basically hits the water supply. It's got to be in an area where there's going to be absolutely nothing can affect it. So.
Oh, well, of course it says Japan's supply chain paralysis spreads as firms cut output in the U.S.
Well, yeah, because they're having to check every single item coming into this country for radioactivity, which means they're opening up the boxes and stuff, which means there's no reason for them to ship anything to our country anymore.
Well, if they're opening up the boxes and getting radiation.
Well, no, because the instant they open the box to check for radioactivity, the box, if it's food and stuff, has to be thrown away. So why ship it?
Education Secretary calls for easier testing for schools.
Yeah, well, there's too many minority kids can't pass the test because they're not designed for minorities. They're designed only for white people.
Well, wait a minute.
Put it this way. When I was growing up, those same little black kids and Latinos and Asians that can't pass the test today were passing those tests then. How is it that they were passing the test when I was young and can't pass the test now?
Somebody should be getting a failing grade.
Well, no, you can't get a failing grade. The teacher
could do better.
It's basically, the way it works is, they've also, they sued the police, they sued states over failing too many minority students, so now if you get a 50, you pass on the test. That's what they're wanting to do, is to dumb down the educational system because teachers won't teach.
Japan supply chain, oh wait.
Yeah.
Obama, U.S. will turn over control of Libya effort.
Yeah, but they don't know who they're going to turn control over to.
Oh.
Yeah, they have, basically, like I said, everybody is pissed off. This was not what they were supposed to be doing. The British are trying to wipe out Gaddafi before he tells the world about the arrangements that were made. The French want to retake Libya as one of their colonies, so...
And home sales tumble as prices are near a 9-year low.
Yeah, well, they basically hit an all-time record. Here's a good one. But they upped the January sales after they were down, and then they reduced the February sales from being up. And you know, because it's Wednesday of the week, folks, on Wednesdays they generally always up something on home sales.
And a Monty Bubbleism from the Mark Twain of the Animal Kingdom.
That if you want to play with someone and you break that person's bones, it's not likely they're going to want to play with you anymore.